Prohibition went into effect on January 17, 1920. It was called the Noble Experiment, but in fact, Prohibition was the business opportunity that changed organized crime in America forever. Gangs that had in the past sold people prostitution or gambling now had a new product and a much bigger market. They built partnerships, networks, and defended their turf. From New York to LA, bootleg wars turned streets into battlegrounds. The city that most openly flaunted Prohibition was Chicago. And the most powerful figure in its bootlegging trade was Johnny Torrio. Torrio had arrived from Brooklyn a decade earlier and had built up booming gambling and prostitution rackets. When Prohibition went into effect, Torrio immediately recognized the immense profits that bootlegging could bring. He and his indispensable first lieutenant, a former bouncer named Al Capone, embarked on a campaign of uniting the gangs of Chicago and laying the foundation for an empire. But first, they had to go through a powerful Irish gang on the north side, led by Dean O'Banion. O'Banion and his Northsiders had been hijacking Torrio's shipments of booze. And in 1924, Torrio's hitmen assassinated O'Banion. 2 months later, O'Banion's lieutenants Jaime Weiss and Bugs Moran caught up with Torrio. Torrio survived the hit, but decided to retire and turn operations over to Capone. With Torrio gone, Capone was free to unleash his ruthlessness. In 1926, Capone's men murdered Jaime Weiss. Bugs Moran was now in charge of the Northside Gang, and the two gangs went after each other in a bloody war of attrition. With bodies piling up in the streets, Capone decided he would try to end it once and for all. It was February 14, 1929. Moran's men were baited to a warehouse in Lincoln Park with a hijacked truckload of whiskey. When they arrived, they were met by a group of men dressed as police officers. Thinking they were about to be arrested, 7 men did not protest. Then, 2 or 3 men in plainclothes walked in. They pulled Tommy guns out from under their coats, pointed them at the men lined up against the brick wall, and opened fire. St. Valentine's Day Massacre was the beginning of the end of Al Capone's reign. Capone's criminal activities had finally crossed the line, drawing public outrage and the scrutiny of the federal government. 3 years later, Al Capone was behind bars.